like the typical demand is for like a manager job? Is there usually a high demand?
As far as how many people are trying to get the job?
Yeah.
It kind of fluctuates from year to year. We've had, I know the past few years, up until this past year, we had 30 to 40. And then this last year, I think we had, what, 15? Something like that. So, I don't know, maybe we're becoming less desirable of a job. But, yeah, no, I mean, as many people as want to apply are always welcome. But, yeah, we get some great resumes that come in. We turn down some pretty good people. But, yeah, the demand just kind of fluctuates, I guess.
And depending on each year and each, director of basketball operations, each head manager, we don't have a set number of people that we're looking to hire each year. So this year we graduate 5 managers, and our first years are currently in a trial year, so we don't know who's going to come back after that. So we could, if we interview everybody next year and we think that there's only 2 people that are qualified, we'll only take 2. If there's 6 and we only want 5, we'll have to make a decision then. So we don't really have a set number going into the interviews of how much we want. We kind of base it on how the interviews go and go from there.
So what is the interview process?
Okay, so what we do is that when you come next fall, we have applications available as soon as students are on campus. We should give you a week or 2 to fill out the application, get everything set, get your references set. We usually do call all your references, get your resume all polished, and from there we usually guarantee, depending on the number, if we got 100 applicants, we won't guarantee everybody, but we usually guarantee everybody a first interview. What that is just a sit-down interview with the head manager and the other lead managers that we have, and sometimes if our director of basketball operations is available, he'll come in with us and sit on some interviews. From there, we'll make a cut, and this year we actually didn't do it because we only had 15, but typically we bring them back for a second interview, and then we would put them through typical manager duties. We'd pop in a film, have them stat it, see if they can kind of understand basketball stats, stuff like that. I mean, it's not a requirement that you know, like, what we classify as an assist coming in or whatever, but we kind of want you to know, like, if they, catches a missed shot, that's rebounding. Just kind of basics so we know going in that you have a basic understanding. Then we put you through some drills that we typically would have to do. We do from time to time, depending on players missing class and stuff like that, and numbers that we have. We do have to jump in drills every once in a while. Can be really embarrassing for some people, and it could be time to shine for others. But from there, after we get through those drills, we kind of sit down as a group, and it's really the managers that make the decision on who we hire. We've been very lucky with the director of basketball operations right now that we have. Luke has been great. He's kind of given us free reign on who we hire and who we think is qualified, because he knows that we're the ones that are going to be dealing with them on a daily basis. So.
And that reason, that we make that decision is a reason that if you're interested, that camps are such a huge deal. Because if you've been there the summer before, and we know that you worked hard all summer, or well, not all summer, but for the days that you were there, that's a big deal. Marc did that a couple years ago, and he was there. People come and try to get their foot in the door a little bit, and they're there from 9 to 5 when everybody's there to camp. Marc was one of the guys that stayed. He helped us with bed checks, helped us with pizza orders, everything. And, of course, we remembered 2 months later that he was a guy that was there to get his work done and did a good job. And it was a very obvious hire.
So that's kind of what the job or the purpose of camps for everybody that comes in that wants to be a manager is to familiarize yourself with the other managers. Because they're the ones that are making the final call. So when you come back for an interview in the fall, if they're like, hey, this kid did work hard in camp, he did a really good job, put in extra hours, and we kind of remember the face and we can put good connotations with you, that bodes well for you in the interview process.
If you apply in the fall and get the job, when would you start? Like, when would it?
Pretty close to immediately.
Yeah.
Like we said, with it being year-round, in fall, the workouts are already happening. The guys are running the hill that you guys have probably heard about and stuff. So we have a hand in all that stuff. So, and the office is always open, so there's always stuff to be done in there. So it's right away. But another thing is, in saying that, you can really make our job what you want. You can be there 20 hours a week. You can be there for the bare minimum. And if you're there for the bare minimum, it's not the end of the world. We can't have 19 people that are there full time. It's just not how it can work.
We don't have enough office space for everybody to be in there, so we do have to kick people out eventually. But that being said, when you do get hired, we kind of have to just throw you into the fire right away. A lot of the things that we learn to do, you learn from experience. We can't present every possible situation you're going to run into, because what we do is we have to problem solve on the fly. You know, we go somewhere and somebody forgot a pair of shoes, and we got to figure out how this kid's going to get a pair of shoes to do the drills. You know, so we kind of just got to be able to problem solve on the fly and be able to handle anything that's thrown at us, and we can't really prepare you for that unless we put you in the, throw you right in the fire and let you go figure it out yourself.
So what's a typical week look like for each of you guys, like as far as how many practices you have to be at and that kind of thing?
So what we do with the high number of managers that we have, we assign Mondays through Fridays given off your class schedules, so we do try to avoid your class schedules. And then what we have is we have 7 managers at each practice. So then that'll rotate. We have our three lead managers, so one of them is always at a practice, and then the 6 other ones kind of just fill in on availability. Usually it's 2 to 3 practices. With a high number, it's usually only 2, and then an occasional weekend practice. You know, with Big Ten season, we're on the road a lot on the weekends, and we got a game on the weekends, so there's not really that many weekend practices. But you know, it is a commitment, and we're also here over the entire winter break. We don't really get a winter break. Hoping that we do well, we don't really get a spring break either. But we usually have 2 to 3 practices a week. We require all our managers to be there for 4 hours a week in the office, and that's set on their own schedule. So they want to come in early in the morning before class or after class. Our office is open 8 to 5. We have to have somebody fill in the front desk at all times. So that's kind of the manager's job. So they have to be there for their 4 hours a week. You don't have to do all 4 at once. You can do 4 1 hours on each day, 2, break up in 2 and 2. And as you go on, if you get promoted, we do have paid office positions where you get paid for 20 hours a week in the office. That's an hourly position where everybody else kind of gets a stipend. It's a lump sum no matter how much you put in. Any other questions?
Yeah, some other questions.
How much do you get paid as a first-year manager?
That's one of our big catches is you don't get paid in your first year, but that's part of we have so many people and there's only so much money to go around. But also, you know, if you're there, we want to make sure that you're there for the long haul. You know, it's nobody that is doing it is in it for the money, and your first year you kind of have to prove that that's the case.
Yeah, we want you to prove to us that you're there for the right reasons. Obviously, with a job, you want to get paid, and that's obviously part of the issue. But we want you to prove that you're there to help the program, not just to earn a few bucks on the side and just do what the bare minimum and get by, and just kind of be a forgotten thought.
I'll also say though, in addition to that, in my time at least, nobody has worked their first year and decided that not getting paid was so terrible and quit. That's never happened.
Yeah, I mean, usually you find out as you go. I mean, it's kind of hard at first when you're kind of putting in a lot of time. You're not seeing any initial monetary reward, but you see as you go. You get free gear. You get to free ticket to every game, every home game. You know everybody, and then as you get to your second and third year, you got to get more of the benefits.
How much class time do you typically miss?
That can depend, I guess. I mean, during our typical week, maybe not any. Well, if you choose to go to all your classes. But if you're on a road trip, that's usually a 2-day operation. If we leave in the afternoon for a night game the next night, depending, obviously, it just depends on your schedule. But we've definitely found that, and that's all excused by the university. It's professors and TAs are usually very accommodating with that. We actually find, or at least I find, a lot more if I tell a professor that he's more interested in talking about the team than being concerned with me missing class. So usually it's not a huge problem.
And they're not allowed to dock you points because you weren't there. You are excused. They have to treat it as if you were a student athlete, and you can't lose a grade because you missed so much class because of being at athletic function. I mean, if you miss class for other reasons, that's your own business. But
otherwise, if it's not due to a road trip, you'd never be expected to miss class for a basketball
right.
function.
And with that being said, you're not going on every road. We only bring 3 on every road trip, and only the head manager goes on every road trip. The other 2 positions kind of rotate in as we go. So I mean, usually you end up going on 2, 3, maybe road trips a year, and then so you're missing 5, 6 days max. I mean, even if it's a weekend game, you could miss a Saturday, Sunday, so you're not missing any class. So, I mean, you're really, and we avoid your schedules when working practice, so if you have class during practice, you can come late. We never force you to miss class. We want you to go to class. So really, the only time you would go is those 2 to 3 trips you would go on, which would start your second year. So your first year, you would really never miss class.
Do you have some?
Yeah, it's good.
All right.
What are a couple of cool experiences you guys have had?
Cool experiences. It's all a cool experience, really. I guess the corny answer, well, this isn't like a fun basketball answer, I guess, but I always tell people is, like you said, we got 19 people. We're mini fraternity. There's no question. We have, I'm friends with everybody that's on staff, and everybody that's been on staff at the time that's been here. That's been the coolest experience, really. But I don't know. Do you have a cool?
I mean, that's
awesome basketball story?
not really.
Well, I mean, any awesome win is always
like
is always a fun experience. You're right there. You're part of it. Everybody made a big deal of the video where everybody was dancing to Kesha after we beat Michigan. I mean, we were right there for that. We were in the same room, so that was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, I mean, when something like that, like the Michigan game goes on, everybody's focused on storming the court, and we're trying to find the game ball, and we're worried about where the stools are. So, there's other things that we're trying to focus on, but we're fans at the same time. We want the team to do well. We're right there. We want them. We want a Big Ten championship. We want what you guys want. So, I think the coolest part is just having kind of the front row seat to every game, just being right there with the team, being as close to the team and being a part of it as you can be. That's probably one of the cooler experiences for us.
What is working practice like?
We have various jobs we have to do during practice. One manager is always standing with Coach Ryan, charting with Coach Ryan, and we have somebody that works the clock all the time, and then otherwise we keep track of every single thing. A lot of our practices are going through possessions and preparing for the next team we're playing, which means that to an outsider we look like we're scrimmaging the whole time. But we're taking stats on every single thing that happens on the floor. Every shot that goes up, every free throw, whatever, we've got that accounted for. So that's a big reason that we're there during practice.
Do the players and coaches seem appreciative of what you do, or do they kind of keep to yourself?
I mean, as you go on, they definitely appreciate. I mean, they give you a hard time. We are still managers. We're still low on the totem pole, but they really do appreciate it. They may not show it, but they do understand that if we weren't there, they know it wouldn't run as smoothly as it does. We take care of all the little things that a lot of them don't want to take care of. Somebody's got to do it. We do it for them, and we do it pretty willingly because that's our job and that's what we have to do. So I definitely think that they do appreciate what we do, and you may not get a thank you every time you do something, but they know what you're doing is important to them.
Were any of you working when Zach Showalter dunked over Zach Bowman?
I was there.
It's pretty impressive.
That was one of the more impressive things I've seen in practice, for sure.
He definitely had to get it back, though, because he got schooled on
Yeah.
a Euro step before
That's
that.
true.
He went flying one way in the ball.
Yeah, that one didn't make it on the internet. He looked bad before that.
He kind of was a little angry and wanted to get back, so he made a better highlight, I guess.
That's another example of something that's awesome to see every day. Even though we're working, we're in practice all the time. That's something that a regular person doesn't see.
What are some of the drills you guys do? Like besides rebounding?
Stuff that we might have a part of?
Yeah, what kind of drills?
We do through any number of drills, a lot of passing type stuff. It's never anything too serious. There's usually a guy, when we go on the road trips, usually always somebody has to go in because we travel 15 guys. Might need an even amount of numbers to do a defensive drill or something like that, like a one-on-one type thing. But also nobody's going and getting dunked on by a linebacker.